Okay, with this question it tells you that the area of ADC is 56 meters square. So triangle ADC, so this bit, this area in here is 56 meters squared. Now a lot of you were trying to use the fact that the area is equal to base times height for a triangle. I mean, if that was 90 degrees you might have a chance there, but it's not. So you have to remember the other formula for the area, half AB sine C, which is half of one side times by another side times by the angle in between them. So if I call this side x, then the area is equal to half times by 11 times by x times by sine of 105. Now the area I know is 56. So if I rearrange all of this, x is equal to 56 divided by a half, let's move that up a bit, times by 11 times by sine of 105. So get your calculator out. Make sure that your calculator has got a little d at the top. If it's an r like mine is now, that's radians, that's something you do at A level. It's going to be in degrees, so I need to change that actually. So I'm going to press shift and then mode, which takes me to setup. And if I press 3, it puts it in degrees. Let's try that again. So I've got 56 over 0.5 times 11 times sine 105, which gives me 10.54. You don't want to round this too much because now I know that's 10.54. I can put this in here. So I've got this side x is 10.54. I'm going to need to use that to work out future calculations. So I might actually 10.54. I might call it 10.541. And then what do we need to know next? So we're trying to work out the length of AB. Right, we're going to have to do this step by step. So if I want to work out the length of AB, I can use this triangle to work out what AC is, and then I've got another bit of information I can use on this top triangle. So to work out AC, I know two side lengths now and the angle in between them. That is one of the set of conditions where you need to use the cosine rule. So if I call this side, doesn't really matter what, let's call it y. Using the cosine rule, using these two sides and this angle, I can say that y squared is equal to 11 squared plus 10.54 squared minus 2 times by 11 times by 10.54, I'm going a little bit over my answer here, times by cos of 105. So using the cosine rule, it's kind of got a bit muddled up, so I'm going to section this bit off. So y squared is equal to, let's work this out, I've got 11 squared plus 10.54 squared minus 2 times 11 times 10.54. I've used 10.54 instead of 10.541. I might actually go back just to make this more accurate. Put the 10.541 in there. I can always go back on my calculator and put that 1 in here and go forward in my calculator. And I'll put 10.541. So 2 times 11 times 10.541 times cos 105. So y squared is equal to 292.133, etc. To avoid having to put it back in my calculator and do any rounding here, if I just, in my calculator, if I leave that in as the answer and just press square root answer and then hit equals, that gives me a y value, or that length, as 17.09. Okay, or 17.092 if I do it one more figure, just to try and keep it accurate. Now I know that that is 17.092. If I redraw this triangle down here, this top one, so I've got 118 at the top, so just a rough sketch. I've got my 48 degrees, which is the same as what we've got here. I've got my 118 at the top, which is the same as what we've got here. But I now know that y, this length along the bottom, is 17.092. So if I want to work out the length of AB, which is this side here, because on the sketch that's A and that's B. So if I want to work out the length of side AB, let's just give this another letter. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm going to call it M. Now I have a matching pair. I have an angle and I have the opposite side. So I can use the sine rule. I can say that using this, M over sine of the angle opposite it is equal to 17.092 over sine of the angle opposite it. This might seem obvious to some of you, but just make sure when you do sine or cos of anything, make sure the number in there is always an angle. Sometimes you'll see sine of like 17.092, it just doesn't make any sense. Make sure it's always sine or cos, make sure it's an angle in there. And now if I rearrange this slightly, if I times both sides by sine 48, it's quite a long question, I'll admit, but if I put this in my calculator now, 17.092 times by sine of 48 over sine of 118. After all this working, being very methodical, it comes out that the side I'm looking for is 14.39. Just one more thing, I look back at the question, always do before you move on. Okay, give your answer correct to one decimal place. 14.39, I'm going to put it as 14.4. There you go.